Hi, welcome to Week in Review, where we look at some of the news in the headlines. Joined this week by a stellar cast. We got Darla Slipke from the Dig team, Ryan Sharp, the sports editor, and my old friend Don Mecoy, the business editor. Darla, let's get to it. We have another story this week in our ongoing series, the state of Oklahoma, where we look at a lot of the factors that, a lot of the problems that Oklahoma confronts. This week we kind of focus a little bit on teen pregnancy, and as we've tried to do in these last few stories, we're looking at some positives that we've seen on these fronts, you know, where we're seeing some success. And tell us a little bit about the story that you wrote. We focused on a young family, a young teen family that's getting ready to start on this venture. And then tell us a little bit about some of the statistics that we know about in terms of teen pregnancy.
Sure. So in Oklahoma, our teen birth rate is the second highest in the nation, second only to Arkansas, and that's as of 2016, the most recent federal data we have to compare. The state did just release numbers for 2017, and our rate in Oklahoma decreased by about 11%. So we're seeing some progress, and since 2013, we've seen a steady decline in that rate. In Oklahoma County, our teen pregnancy rate for women ages 15 to 19 has decreased by about 38% since 2013. So we've seen some significant progress there. And about that time, a group of nonprofit organizations and social agencies came together to really look at how we could address this issue by taking kind of a wide approach that includes a variety of aspects, but things like comprehensive sex education in our schools. And so there's definitely been some progress, but it is an area that our state is still lagging behind many other states in the country. And we did profile a young couple that just recently had a daughter, so they're adjusting to their first few weeks as teen parents, and you can read more about their experiences in Sunday's paper. And
then one of the things we do know too is that with teen pregnancy is that it sort of starts a young mother out behind the 8-ball in life. The statistics kind of are grim in a lot of respects. What do we know about that?
Yeah, there definitely are a lot of challenges for teen moms and teen parents. Having a baby at such a young age puts them at greater risk for things like poverty and economic instability. It makes it more difficult to finish school and achieve their educational goals, their career goals, which in turn makes it difficult to get a job that would allow them to more easily support their family. And so there are a lot of challenges that go along with being a teen parent.
And the good thing about this story is it does show that when committed people come together to try and find solutions, that they really can make an impact. I mean, we've seen significant, even though we still have too many teen pregnancies and we still rank high nationally, we have seen substantial reductions in Oklahoma County specifically because of all the efforts. And you have a lot of different groups working on it. One of the things that was interesting about your story was the involvement of the school district in terms of providing a teen pregnancy counselor, liaison essentially, who works with a lot of these moms and families to help them negotiate through this whole 9 months of great change in their lives, so and beyond the 9 months. So it's a great story. There's two great stories actually. They'll be in Sunday's paper. As I mentioned, part of our ongoing coverage of the state of Oklahoma and issues that confront the state, some of the major problems that we have here, and we're trying to provide some answers as well. So great work, and we look forward to reading that on Sunday. Ryan, football season's here.
It's time.
Okay, let's talk about our two favorite universities in Oklahoma.
So they both kicked off practice officially this week. Oklahoma State started on Thursday. OU started on Friday. With everybody, as far as we know, everybody's reported that was supposed to, that we kind of expected to be there. So all their incoming freshmen are in finally. Now some of them, of course, came in the spring and went through spring workouts. But the rest of them showed up this week. They got signed in, checked out all their gear, and they hit the field. OSU yesterday, and OU was on the field this morning.
I think the one interesting story for both programs, who's going to be the quarterbacks,
yeah,
and big change.
It's strange. I mean, for several years now, there's been no question who was going to be the quarterback at either school. And now you've got, at OSU, you've got some pretty legit questions of who's going to be the guy. We might know who's going to start the year, but who's going to finish it. At OU, everybody kind of feels like we know who's going to be the quarterback, but Lincoln Riley is kind of keeping it close to the vest. At OU, you've got Kyler Murray, obviously, who signed a massive baseball contract.
He'll be paying for soda after practice.
The yearly lineman dinner is going to be interesting this year. You know, quarterbacks usually take out their line for massive dinners. I think it'll be a little bit different this year with him paying the bill.
Hot dogs.
No, probably not. The other guy is Austin Kendall, redshirted last year, highly recruited guy that's got a lot of talent, and the coaches speak really highly of him and how he performed last year as kind of the scout team quarterback. Because Kyler Murray was backing up Baker Mayfield. We've actually seen Kyler Murray on the field. We kind of know what he's capable of. Freakishly athletic, really fast, has a chance to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest quarterback in college football. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how Lincoln Riley, who's a phenomenal play caller, how he ends up using Kyler Murray. At OSU, it's kind of an interesting deal. You've had a guy in Taylor Cornelius, who's been a backup for Mason Rudolph for now 3 years. He's a fifth-year senior. He's a former walk-on, and Mike Gundy and Mike Yursich have both said that he's the guy going into camp. And the interesting part about that is they've got two other guys on campus that they're very high on. Drew Brown is a transfer from Hawaii. Threw for a whole lot of yards when he played for Hawaii. Really athletic guy. We got our first chance to look at him yesterday. Has a great arm, really nice touch. The other guy is Spencer Sanders, who's a true freshman from Texas, who is easily OSU's most highly recruited quarterback since they got Rudolph. And most people think that he's kind of the future of their program, that he's going to be around. He's going to be the guy for years to come after this. So
OU is ranked
5th.
Oklahoma State's ranked
25th.
32.
For your Wildcats.
If you were wondering.
The interesting thing about that is, OSU kind of beefed up their non-conference schedule and actually host Boise State this year. And Boise State's ranked 22. So week 3, you're going to get a top 25 matchup. OSU should be able to take care of their first couple of games. So surprisingly, a little bit to me anyway, Boise State was ranked higher than OSU, and they're coming to Stillwater.
It's going to be an interesting year in the conference. I'm really looking forward to this one.
The question's always Texas.
Here's what I do know. Texas is overrated again. Again.
Until they do something different, you're going to have to assume every year that it's just a bunch of talk.
Agreed.
But they're picked second in the conference again, and nobody really knows what they have.
How about West Virginia?
Same thing. They're going to be really good on offense. The question with them is always defense and what they can do. Dana Holgerson's still one of the best offensive minds in college football. And they've actually got a quarterback this year too. For once, it's been strange when Holgerson was at Texas Tech and then Oklahoma State. He had all these ready-made quarterbacks when he stepped in that were really good. Until this year, he hasn't really had that at West Virginia. And their quarterback's picked to be Player of the Year. They're going to be pretty good too. It's just a matter of what their defense does.
This is going to be a great year. They have us picked 6th. I guarantee you we will finish higher than 6th.
Bill Snyder, right? This is last year?
Mark my words, we will finish higher than 6th. I guarantee it. So, Don, let's talk about some of the stuff going on in Oklahoma City with the oil companies first. Let's touch on that. Strange reports, prices are up. It would seem they'd be making money in this environment. Tax revenue to the state from the oil and gas companies is going up, but they're reporting losses.
Yeah, we were seeing some kind of skewed earnings, and it's financial stuff. Basically, what happened as oil prices started to recover and they got up to a point where these companies said, hey, we can be profitable at this price, which for a lot of them was around $55 or so. They locked in those prices, which they like to do because it gives them predictability when they're trying to do budgeting and so forth. So they buy these hedges, these futures contracts, and they know for the coming months that they will be able to sell their oil at that price. So they locked in at 55. And the oil prices kept going up. In fact, they got as high as $70 for the stuff that was produced around here during the last quarter. So when we got to the end of the quarter here this week, for a lot of these companies, they're reporting their second quarter earnings. They have to book a loss. If they sell a barrel of oil at $55 and the current market price is $70, they book what's called a non-cash loss. It's a paper loss. But what happens is you have a company like Devon, which had increased production, everything was good, the prices were good, but they end up posting a $450 million loss for the quarter most of which, I think 350 million of it, was just on paper.
So it's mostly like unrealized profit, really, rather than
really
loss, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's because it's the peculiarities of energy accounting. I mean, we see this when the oil prices were collapsing, and the companies have set a value on the oil and gas that's in the ground, and they have to write it down as the prices were collapsing. Again, we saw paper losses when the prices went down. Now we're seeing paper losses when the prices are going up. We had a couple of companies that actually were profitable had it not been for these hedging activities.
Well, that would be another question, which, one, I mean, there's probably tax advantages too in terms of being able to use the losses at a time when they're investing in infrastructure. Can't they I'm wondering if that cancels out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I guess, are these financially healthy companies? Are they doing well in this environment?
Yes, I would say that they are. For instance, when the analysts are looking at these numbers, they extract all this stuff, and they just want to know, what's your day-to-day operating profit or loss? And when they take out all the noise, they were happy, it sounded like, for most of these energy companies. Of course, not everybody hedges. You got Continental Resources, and they don't hedge, so they're getting the full value of these current values, which are much higher than the companies that hedged several months ago.
I don't know. Oil, energy, finances, or nuclear physics. I'm not sure which is more difficult to sort through.
And the NBA salary cap.
And the NBA salary cap.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about another thing that popped up around town here in the last couple of days. Scooters magically appearing on street corners. What's the deal there?
Yeah, Thursday morning, about 50 scooters from this company called Bird showed up in the streets of downtown Oklahoma City, literally on the sidewalks. They're rentable electric scooters that you don't have to dock anywhere. So basically you download an app, you go scan it in at a scooter, and then you ride that scooter. It costs you $1 to unlock it. It costs you 15 cents a minute. So if you use it for, say, half an hour, it's going to be roughly $5 or so. And you can ride it wherever you go. And then when you get there, you just leave it. You don't have to dock it anywhere. Which has become a big issue in some cities where they have lots and lots of these scooters and people just dump them on the sidewalks, and they can be a hazard, they can be annoying. But this is the first time we've seen this here in Oklahoma City, and there were about 50 of them. And the city basically said, when we talked to city officials, they're like, well, you have to have a permit to do this.
Caught them off guard.
And yeah, it did. Because they were actually trying to formulate some policies because they had an idea that this was coming. They're actually working with another company called Lime to try and develop some policies. But you do have to have a permit. This company, Bird, has no permit. They just dropped this on there. And people are using it. We've seen a lot of chatter on social media, people riding them, people saying that they work, they're fine, for the most part.
Venturing far and wide, even.
Yeah, somebody went way north and somebody went way west on one of these things. But I also talked to Josh, our police reporter, and he says they're essentially not street legal. They're motorized vehicles. They have no mirrors, they have no seat, they have no lights. You're required to wear a helmet, apparently, when you ride this kind of vehicle, because it's not a motorcycle. But they don't provide helmets. There's a sign on it that says helmets are required, but it's bring your own helmet. So it remains to be seen how if the police start writing citations to people for riding on the sidewalk or riding on the street or riding without a helmet, that could dampen the enthusiasm quite quickly, I would think.
This new economy between Uber, renting out your home, picking up a place, all the rules that used to sort of govern everything, all the local ordinances, all the
it's the gig economy.
It is the gig economy. Thanks, Don. Thanks for bringing us up to speed on that one. That's the kind of news we bring you every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We're online. We're in your driveway. Pick us up. Check us out. We'll see you next week.